to the cloud. Yes. Oh, I am. It's live also. Do you want me to send you? Sure. Yeah. Let me. Let's see. What's the best way to do this? I'll do invite and copy invitation. I'll bring up. Is that too tiny? So the relevant part is, I suppose, is this part, the meeting ID, because I don't have a password on this. So people should be able to get in. Is that, let's try this. Let me copy this and I'll put it on a slide and blow it up for a little bit. All right, so there's the Zoom meeting number. Is that readable? Okay. And let's check out in Zoomlandia. Is anyone there yet? All right, so it looks like it's recording and I'm sharing the screen. And test. All right, I see the little microphone doing green stuff, so I think we're good. I've just got all of one earbud in to capture the sound, and I will then minimize this. Hide it completely. Oh, well. This one? Yeah? Okay. Oh, that's good enough. Put this. Hopefully that doesn't get in my way. All right. Wow. This is good. This is more of a turnout than I thought it was. Thank you. Welcome for coming. There's going to be a 3-part series on Web3. And so today we're going to go over some basic concepts, and we will get you onboarded onto a decentralized network, a blockchain called DeSo, and we'll have a little bit of fun with that. And we'll get there. But DeSo is a pretty, as far as onboarding onto blockchain, it's fairly painless, and we'll have to figure out. I was going to airdrop everyone a little bit of money. Airdrop is a term they use to when you just wake up and someone puts some money in your wallet, some crypto money in your wallet. There's also a way, so we'll figure out. There's a lot of you here. Not that I'm a cheapskate. It's more just we'll have to go one at a time, but we'll figure that out. Maybe what I'll do is I'll drop some extra DeSo to some of you, and then you can pass it on. Okay, so this is my I don't know if this is a description or an aspiration, but I hope that this is an easy to understand explanation of decentralization, blockchain, crypto, and NFTs, plus how to stay safe in the new incoming web. That last part might have to, well, we'll talk a little bit about it. I don't think I was able to get any slides done today on that, but we'll go over that and we'll highlight that in tomorrow's meeting. Okay, looks like we do have some people coming online. Cool. I'm just gonna make sure that they are muted. I don't have an auto mute. So there we go. Thank you, Malachi. All right. So We'll start with the concept of decentralization. Anyone familiar, heard that term, decentralization, a little bit? Yeah. Okay, let's start off with its counterpart, centralization. And let's take a look at how it looks in our world today. So we have different entities, organizations, companies, businesses, startups, where their business, their application online, they control both the user interface part and the data that stores the information. So in the case of like Facebook or any social media, you go to their website and it's a nice layout, right? And you can type in a post, what you had for lunch or whatever, and hit send. And that data that you type in, it's there on the page as you typed it in, and then all your other friends who are connected, they can see what you had for lunch, right? And the way that works is what you typed in goes into a database, and then, when you come on, make sure and mute yourself, because I hear an echo of myself. There we go, thank you. So you're putting data into Facebook's database, right? And then when your friends are using that interface, the app, whether it's on the phone or on a tablet or on a computer, that data is coming back out. But in the case of a social network like Facebook, who's providing the real value of that application? Are there people at Facebook typing in very interesting facts no? Who? Yeah.
It's you.
Yeah, it's you. You are putting information into their database, and then they're spitting it back out. And how are they? You've heard the phrase, I'm sure. If you're not paying for the product, you are the product, right? And so you are the one who is making Facebook successful, and then they are making money off of that, right? And if you get bought in, if you've been doing it for years, I signed up for Facebook like 15 years ago. It has 15 years worth of pictures and posts about what I had for lunch. No, I don't do that, but I helped add value to Facebook. The problem is if Facebook, the company, starts becoming a bad actor, and I don't like the way they're running things, and there seems to be a better solution out there, the cost for me leaving Facebook and going is huge in terms of I just lost 15 years of my life, right? To go start brand new on another social network. And maybe there's, I think they call them vampire apps. You could slurp the data out of Facebook page by page, painfully, and try to import that into your new social media of choice. But they own that data, the data that you created, right? And that is part of centralization. Everything is centralized with Facebook. With a bank, in this case, Bank of America, that's one of the banks that I bank at. Same kind of thing. I've got a mobile phone. I've got a web app. I can go in. I can look into my account. Here, it's not. I don't think it's quite as nefarious as Facebook, but still, the transactions that are happening when I use my ATM card, when I buy something with my Bank of America credit card, it's all siloed in their company database, right? Buena Vista government records. I just put that to bring it close to home. I'm not quite sure how online the Buena Vista government is, but Yeah, someone's shaking their head. The last startup that I created, it was in the GovTech space. And so I came to understand local governments a little bit better. And yeah, some of them are still pencil and paper. Some of them are old systems, but important things that are supposed to, even by law, are supposed to be public, like uh, building permits or deeds, the title to your property, the deed that shows that you in fact own the property that you say you do. Sometimes it's in a filing cabinet, right? Sometimes it's in data that's stored within an app that someone sold the city government. Someone being, sometimes it was my company, right? And so that data is siloed. And we could say the same thing about medical records, like with Anthem. My records are siloed within that. So that is centralization. And if we take a look at just social media, we've got a whole bunch, right? We got Twitter, TikTok, MySpace. Anyone ever heard of MySpace? Some of you guys are old enough to remember it, but before Facebook, I did MySpace. A lot of my band's stuff at the time, we posted on MySpace. And when I went over to data, I had that pain point that I told you about, where everything I had posted and created here didn't move over. And the other thing is that the interfaces were different. MySpace was kind of like the Wild West. They almost gave users too much power to control the UI. And so it got ugly, right? You had like dancing polar bears and flashing red, yellow lights. And when I first saw Facebook, I'm like, oh, this is so boring. I can't, my hands are tied. I have no creativity. But then within a week, I was like, oh, that's the magic. So just the user interface, I was like, yeah, okay, I'll go over to Facebook instead of MySpace. But still, all this data is siloed within these companies. What is decentralization then? Decentralization is the concept that, at least let's look at social media, that the data layer, all of our posts, the images that we've posted, the comments, the retweets, the likes, all of that is stored in a decentralized, a big giant Earth database, a planet database. And if we had this kind of thing, then it solves some of the problems, some of the pain points, not all of them, but my ability to go from MySpace to Facebook would have been a lot easier, right? I wouldn't have lost any of the posts or pictures. And now that I'm in my well, I don't even do Facebook really anymore, but here oh yes.
So I'm just curious, like when Instagram or Facebook took over Instagram, is that kind of the same principle that you're talking about here?
So what's interesting, okay, so there, my guess is, and I don't know for sure, is those databases are still separate. Your Instagram database and your MySpace Facebook database are different. So it's still centralized, but both of them are owned by what? Meta now is the name of the company. So we're still talking about centralized because there is one company that owns your data. So, but as Facebook, I like going to Facebook to see my friends, pictures of my friends' kids. I like to see what my aunts and uncles and cousins are doing, and puppies, right? Pictures of cute puppies. What I've learned that I do not need is more memes, especially political memes, especially ones that are inaccurate, because that makes me feel like I have to save the world and correct the inaccuracy, right? And then I spend all this time battling and fighting with other people over these dumb political memes, and it builds this animosity. And all the time, Facebook's laughing all the way to the bank, right? Because now you have user engagement. You have eyeballs on this platform all the time, because their algorithm is teaching us to fight each other. And so what am I left with? If we were in this world where we have a decentralized data layer, if another company started up, like maybe Nicebook or something like that, they tap into this data layer and they say, you know what, we're not going to bother writing algorithms to make people fight with each other. We're going to TikTok's kind of this way. We're going to kind of observe what you like, and we're just going to feed you more puppies and your friends' posts and stuff like that, right? And so my ability to go from one system to another, there's not much friction, right? I can do it pretty easily. But we have problems with other problems with TikTok, right? Maybe, and this, I realize maybe I don't know enough about this, and I should not have my tinfoil hat on at the moment, but it's possible there's other governments that are not our governments who are gathering information on us by using TikTok. Maybe I don't like that. Again, if someone comes up with a TikTok competitor where they are not mining personal data and selling it to adversarial governments, I could switch to that. The friction level is pretty low. Any questions on that so far? Yeah. 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 Yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Do they currently do that? Uh-huh. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So yeah, so that sounds, oh, and for those listening at home, the question was about ancestry, genealogy type applications. And it sounds like they are trying to move towards a decentralized model, or at least a data sharing model. But that's a great example, because back when I was your age, I was trying to do some genealogy at BYU, and I don't know if this still exists, but there were GEDCOM files. Okay, those still are a thing, huh? But I feel like, and I've always been interested, but I feel like I have typed in, throughout my life, I've typed my family tree in like maybe 4 or 5 times, and yeah, and so that's a lot of redundant effort, and it would be such a great solution if that existed on a decentralized data structure where we could tap into it all the time. So yeah, I love that idea. Any other comments? Okay, now this decentralized database concept, it doesn't work for everything. So I am not, you have terms like Bitcoin maximalist. You've probably heard that, which is, those are the people who are super religious, like Bitcoin or nothing. Everything else is crap coin. I'll call it that. They use a different word. But I am not a decentralized maximalist. I think decentralization works for some use cases, and it's not going to work for others. But for the ones it does work for, I'm excited about those. So some questions to ask ourselves, and this is not complete. This is just kind of off the top of my head, is when we're trying to figure out whether we can use it or not, we might ask ourselves the following. First, is it okay for the data to remain undeletable and unchangeable forever and ever? Okay, this might be a problem with social media, right? Because when you're young and dumb, you might post some stuff, and when you get older and wiser, maybe, hopefully, you're like, oh no, delete, right? And so I don't know. To me, what I've learned is for that one, for me personally, I just have to be very careful on if I'm going to post to a decentralized social network, I'm going to be very careful about what I post. I don't want it to come back and haunt me, right? So yeah, you're gonna have to weigh that. 2, is it okay for the data to be public and accessible by all forever and ever? So maybe there's some things that I feel fine posting and it being there forever and ever. It's not embarrassing, but I don't want everyone in the world to know. Like, I don't want businesses like, I don't know, Coca-Cola, Walmart, whatever, scanning this big giant world database, figuring out who Kenny Jacobson is, and targeting me on stuff because of some posts, right? So, or whatever other data we're storing. This is my medical records. I don't necessarily want those to be public and accessible by everyone. So medical records, those kind of apps might not be a good candidate for decentralization. And one could argue, okay, can you encrypt them so that they're unreadable? And the answer is yes, you can. But then the counter is, okay, what if someone discovers or you let go the encryption key, then it can be decrypted and seen by everyone. So that one's a little sketchy. Okay, is anonymity necessary or not? There's this myth that the blockchain is anonymous. It's not. In fact, it's the opposite. It's public. It shows every transaction, everything that happens. We might think to ourselves like, I don't do anything wrong. Why do I need to be anonymous, right? And that might be true, but there might be some cases where we want certain apps to be left open, like where maybe in a repressive government where the people need to overthrow that government, not talking about any one country in particular in the headlines today, but anyway, or overthrow a particular leader. But if they can't being able to communicate each other anonymously, we would not want a centralized database for that. Another one is what you're trying to solve, your use case, should be well understood and tried and true. Meaning, if it's social media, that's been with us for at least Facebook's been with us for 15 years. There's even some older ones. So we understand basically the data structure we would need for a social media platform. But if you're on the cutting edge and you're inventing new apps that no one's even thought of before, and you're still working through it on how am I going to store the data and what am I going to use and how's it going to work, you would probably want it to mature before you even considered bringing it to the blockchain. This is a big one too, is Users won't lose their password, and I use password in quotes because there's a different name. We'll call it sometimes a secret key or a seed phrase, but we'll just call it password now because we understand it's the same concept. Or allow it to be compromised. So on the blockchain, accessing a database and you being you, if anyone ever gets your password, they can then impersonate you. And there's no such thing as reset password on the blockchain. Okay, if we went to a particular applications maybe, but we're talking, right, like with your Bitcoin address, if you let your seed phrase out, people are gonna log in and as you and send your money to their account. And the funny thing is it's traceable. So you can see as your money is getting spent, you can see it's going, being spent different places, but it's no longer yours. So anyway, there is a current protocol kind of in place if your password does become compromised, and essentially you create a new wallet or a new profile, transfer everything over, and just let this other one die on the vine. But it's messy, and my mom, who's 78, she's not going to want to deal with it. She barely can deal with reset password, right? Like, so you need to keep your users in mind too. And I don't know how far in the future it will be before I think this is one of the major hurdles to adopt to full worldwide adoption, is getting users to understand your password, your seed phrase is like a wallet, and if you lose it, you've lost your money. There's no more recourse. So okay, we kind of went over these, but some examples where a decentralized database might make sense in money, aka Bitcoin, right? Or other types of coins. We won't go too far into it, but it's an account ledger that's publicly viewable by everyone. We have DeFi, decentralized finance. You're able to do loans, microloans, support a company. I don't even have DAO. I don't think we'll even talk about DAOs because no one knows enough about them yet. But anyway, some government records. I know, having worked with government and having had a software company that sold to government, a lot of these government records belong on a blockchain. But that whole user thing, not being able to reset your password, ooh, that's going to be a hard hurdle to get to. Event registration, ticketing, your tickets can be on the blockchain, and you can, we'll get into this second, if you're able to buy and sell them to other people, we call it an NFT at that point. Your achievements, you've gone through a certification class, and your certification is tied to your profile on the blockchain, and forever and ever, anyone can verify that, hey, you did pass this course, you got this certification, and you could roll that into your resumes, your curriculum vitae, whatever, to show potential employers, that kind of thing. And this one, so in gaming, your gaming items, your achievements, those kind of things can be stored on the blockchain. Right now, my understanding, I'm not a huge gamer, but I've talked to people who are both gamers and into blockchain stuff, and they're like, yeah, the gaming world right now pushes back hard on the idea of NFTs and blockchain. And I keep throwing that word out. We'll get to NFTs in a minute. Examples where it might not make sense, like we said, medical records, government dissension, right? Like trying to get power from a dictator. Even an email client, that's a little, maybe it can be encrypted, but like I said, if that encryption key gets out, then every email that I've written in that email system could potentially be publicly viewed. So that might not work. If you have a business and one of your competitive advantages is the software you design in-house, you don't want to share that with anyone, right? Because if you put that on the blockchain, it's visible to everyone. And so you don't want to give away company secrets. So you might not want to use it for that. And this is the one I said where data structures are still evolving. If you're way on the cutting edge and the thing you're working with just really hasn't matured enough, it might not be a good candidate. All right. Any comments? And I'll make these slides available to you guys, give you a link. So I keep throwing around the word blockchain and decentralized database. And in the end, I'm talking about the same thing. They're the same thing, okay? So that's just that. Okay. So what is a blockchain? I'm not going to get into the math of this. It's very, very mathy and very fascinating, but there's a lot of explainers on YouTube that could do a heck of a better job than I can. So go look those up, but we'll go over some basics. It's a database. We've established that. It's tamper proof. So someone can't modify it, change it. Yes, there is a asterisk. There's a footnote by that where if you get there's such thing as a 51% attack, but that's not what we're talking about today. Let's just go with it's tamper proof. It lives forever. So it doesn't just live on one computer or 2 or 3 servers. It's a network of servers that are all talking to each other and no one of them is in charge. That's what we call a peer-to-peer network. They're all equal citizens in this network. And when they do something, when something does have to change, they have to change by consensus, 51%, whatever, or maybe even a different number. But because of that, our hope, and yes, technically, maybe they're a big giant EMP, is that what it is? Wave that knocks out every single computer. There's a solar flare and then we lose everything. Yeah, okay, that'd be kind of hard to, but you know, these are footnotes. These are footnotes. Okay, it's publicly available. Like I said, you can tap into it. Anyone can see it. And here is something that has to be true for every, or I think it has to be true. It is currently true, is it is going to have to cost some amount of money to write to the blockchain. It can't just be done for free because unlike because that's our whole point, right? If you're not paying for the product, you are the product, right? AKA Facebook. Here, you are going to be paying for the privilege of writing to the database and reading. Most, you usually read for free-ish, but writing to it is going to cost you some. And that is one of the sticky points right now with certain blockchains. We won't get too deep into that, but so there we go. We have our blockchain, and then we have little bits, pieces of data in there. We have different entries, and there's at least 2 parts to it. We'll have an ID, and then we'll have the data itself. And so the ID is also sometimes called a key or a hash or a token. And then we've got this piece of data attached to it. And sometimes, so in this case, here is a key, here's an ID, and this is one of my Ethereum wallet IDs. This is the public one. Am I afraid of you guys copying that down? No, because what's the worst you could do? Put money in my account. You can't pull money out of my account with just that number. I guess the worst thing you could do is ignore it, right? The best thing you could do is put money in my account, right? One thing, this might be a downside. I just revealed that Kenny Jacobson is that. So now when you look up transactions on through these blockchains, you can see how much ether I have right now, how much money that's about $100 worth. So I'm a rich man. No. but that data, and it's stored differently than this, but we're just gonna make it a little easier. So, but it's keeping track of how much ether I have. We'll just call it money. It's keeping track of how much money I have. This is another one. This one is an example from DeSo, where this top number, that is the ID for a post that I created a few days ago. And there's two pieces of data. Well, it's one chunk, but two sub pieces. One is a message. I went to go see a jazz drummer named Yusuf Days, and it was amazing. We talked about that. So I wanted to flex, right? So I posted that, and I also posted a picture. So it has a link to a URL. So those two things and many other different things make up the bits and pieces of data that we can store on a blockchain. Yes. Yes, exactly. Those are on Ethereum. They're your gas fees. On your Bitcoin, there's transaction fees. So, yep. And you just can't avoid them. Right now, DeSo is kind of sort of artificial. It's starting out, so it's being. People take issue with my use of the word, but I think it's accurate. It's being subsidized currently by the foundation, and so gas fees on DeSo are artificially low, but they are super low, like 0.0001 pennies to post to create a social media, a tweet, if you will. So, okay. All right, the word crypto, I kept throwing that around. What does that mean? Well, possibly a couple of things. Right now, it's mostly in the vernacular today is short for cryptocurrency. So that's Bitcoin and Ether. And in DeSo, the blockchain is called DeSo. The coin is also called DeSo. They shouldn't have done that. It's kind of confusing, but I guess Bitcoin's the same way. Bitcoin is both the name of the blockchain and the coin. But before that, crypto was short for cryptography. And I got this straight from Wikipedia. So I was trying to come up with a definition. I'm like, why am I going to? It's a practice and study of techniques for secure communication in the presence of adversarial behavior. Cryptography goes back way before computers were ever invented. So that was sending secret messages encoded, right? So that's what cryptography is. But the reason why we call it crypto, and like I said, we will not get into the hows, but the way that data is stored and structured and guaranteed to be immutable, meaning it can't change, it's through this cryptography, this math, this branch of math called cryptography. So that's where it comes from. All right. Are there more than one blockchain? Yes. I've kind of already alluded at that. Sometimes I say the blockchain, and that's kind of like saying the web, right? The web is made up of a whole bunch of websites. The blockchain is just kind of a generic, but we have multiple blockchains. This is kind of my own way of viewing it, but we have a kind of a spectrum here. We have very what I call opinionated blockchains and more highly programmable. And when I say opinionated, and that's an actual technical word we'll use in programming, and it just means that a particular framework wants things a certain way. And so, or it's very narrow in the scope of what it does. So Bitcoin, I would put on this very opinionated spectrum, because Bitcoin has one purpose, which is to keep track of this coin called Bitcoin and how much is in everyone's wallet at any given time, and how to transfer Bitcoin from my wallet to your wallet. So it is very narrow in what it is trying to do, and that's fine. It's tailored. It's optimized for that. On the other end, we have a blockchain called Ethereum, which is highly programmable. You could create money on it. You could also create, and we'll get into this, NFTs. You could create a social network on it. It's like learning Python, except it's Solidity. And instead of writing programs, you're writing what are called contracts, smart contracts. But it's that same concept. You're having a Turing complete language that you can use to write code that lives forever on the blockchain, and that will receive information and do what you need it to do. And kind of in between, that's where I put this DeSo blockchain. It is set up to do social media. So a lot of what we call primitives, so these are the building blocks of DeSo, have to do with things you'd find in social media: a profile, a post, a like, those kind of things. But it also allows you to kind of hack it a little bit. Not hack in the sense of you're trying to break in and steal stuff, but hack in the sense of, yeah, I fixed the radiator with bubble gum and duct tape, right? That's a hack, right? And so it's not as highly programmable as Ethereum, but it's a little bit broader scope in what it's able to do than, let's say, Bitcoin. Another footnote, I did see that someone wrote a paper. There's a way to hack Bitcoin to make it Turing complete also. So anyway, but that's not really what it was designed for. Okay, an NFT. What's an NFT? Well, remember these little packets of information, the ID with the attached data? At its basic level, if I make this, if somehow I give the ability to make that packet buyable or sellable, then it's an NFT. So an NFT is not just a picture of a bored ape, right? In fact, that is one small, it happens to be the most well-known use case right now. And I know that's why everyone rolls their eyes or gets the icky feel when they're like, oh, NFTs, right? NFTs are much more than that. It's data that you can trace. Not only is it buyable and sellable, but you can trace its provenance. So you can, if I sold it to you, you sold it to him, you sold, and you end up with it, and someone's like, wait, is that really a post from the Kenny Jacobson, right? And they could go on the blockchain and trace it back. Yeah, it was sold to him, by him, originally by me. So I should have included that too. It's buyable, sellable, and traceable. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, let's take this is yeah. Let's pause there. That's a great one. So right here, you will see I have a URL. It's a link to an image out on, in this case, DeSo has its own way of housing it. I could also, if I had it on Imgur, I don't even know how to say that. Imager, there we go. I could link to that. If I had a song and I put it out on, let's see, on Amazon S3, or I stored it somewhere and I had a link to it, then I could store a link to that song. Now, could I take that song, those ones and zeros, and store that whole thing on the blockchain? The answer is yes, but it will cost you a lot of money, like maybe I'd have to check the prices, but it might cost you $100,000 to store the actual code there. And that's why even those NFTs, what they're really storing is a link to another site. Oh, and by the way, I should have made a slide for that. We have this concept of decentralized data, right? But the same thing is going on with images or files. So we have interplanetary file server. Have you heard of that? IPFS. It's a whole new protocol, and it is the same sort of thing. There are thousands and thousands of computers all running this little program called interplanetary file system, and you can store your pictures, songs, whatever on it. And unlike a service where you pay a monthly fee to store, gigs of data, you pay one time. You pay to write it there, and then it's there for eternity in theory. So that's where a lot of times when if we are going back to Bored Apes, the image to a Bored Ape will probably be stored on this in a interplanetary file server. Dumb name, I know, but it's, we're all nerds. So, and you would store the URL to that. So the same thing could, if you wanted to do that, that's probably would be my suggestion, is you store the song itself on IPFS, you get the URL and you put it there. Now, the problem is can just anybody download it from IPFS if they have that link? Yes, they can. So it's not, I don't think we'll ever have any system that meets everything we want. Yeah. Yeah. Uh-huh. Right. Yeah, that's often, that is the criticism, the number one criticism. And it really, and this is where, in the context of owning a Bored Ape or owning a song, this is where it does get kind of philosophical. And what does it mean to own something, right? I own my house at 15 Villa Encaro, Rancho Santa Margarita, California. I have a property deed that says I own it, but it's just a plot of dirt, right? And it's only because our society, we believe that land can be owned. We have other societies throughout history who that was a foreign concept. The idea of the land being owned by an individual was laughable. It was a stupid concept. And so they would laugh at us and say, you can't own land. What does that even mean, right? And so that's where you have to take that weird leap of faith. And yes, everyone in the world can download the Bored Ape, right? That one picture. But if you own the NFT, it is traceable. You can prove that you are the owner. And let's say, just for an instance, you had Twitter's doing this now, I think, or they're going to. Your profile picture, if you want it to be an NFT, they can verify through the blockchain that you really own it. And so if I did right-click save and tried to upload the image to mine, Twitter could then block it because they could say, well, you don't own it. You can't do that. But I thought that was my, but yeah, does that help a little bit? I am not here to convince you that buying images of NFTs is a good idea. But it is not the only use case of NFTs. Yeah, absolutely. Any other questions or comments on that? No, let's see. Do I have any more? Oh,
You're saying it
Yes.
because you said before,
Yeah, and you're paying for the space also.
so it's just because the space of the URL is tiny.
Yes. Exactly. Yep, exactly. Yep, that's absolutely it. Yep. Okay. You'll hear, oh,
Do you know it's being recorded?
yes.
Okay. Is it going to be available for us?
Yeah. Yep. And if you remind me, I'll send out a link.
Okay. I just have to leave it.
Oh yeah, no problem. Okay, where are we? Oh wow, we're almost okay. All right, let's get to the workshop part. I think I introduced DeSo a little bit already. What is it? It's both a blockchain and it's a coin. What can you do on it? Social media stuff, post, create, like, repost. Also, you can now do NFT stuff. You can mint an NFT. It's a lot cheaper on DeSo than it is on Ethereum or Polygon. You can send, receive DeSo coin to each other. Coinbase, it's listed on Coinbase, so you can turn your dollar bills into DeSo and transfer it around. Or if someone sent you a whole bunch of DeSo, you could off ramp it back into dollars. And it has this weird little feature called creator coins. When you create your profile, you also are given your own creator coin that someone can invest in you. They're like, oh, look, he's an up and coming rock star. I want to get in early, you know. So let's wait. I thought I had one more slide. Yes. Let me show you just a little bit. So what DeSo isn't is the front end app, but other people have already built apps that connect to DeSo. So we have one called BitClout, another called Diamond App. Those both look like Twitter clones, kind of. You have Open Prosper. That one, you can look up a user and you can see, it gives you stats on that user, how many posts they've made, how many things they've liked, how much money they've made so far on DeSo, on the blockchain, what NFT they own, all this kind of fun stuff. And then Polygram is kind of like OpenSea, which is, you can look at and mint NFTs if you want on BitClout and Diamond App also, but here it's a little bit more user friendly. And this one is focused more on the NFT side. But that's the fun part of DeSo is there's not just one app to access it. And I've built a couple too.
So blockchains are literally just the database that houses the information.
Yes.
Companies are creating these search engines to find things.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. Yeah, or these front ends that access it. Okay. All right, let me go over real quick the onboarding process. What you'll need to do. So first of all, what I want you guys to do, I don't want you to get too ahead because you might regret it. We need to first find a place to store this seed hex. This is your password. And if you have, we'll get to that. If you have something like LastPass or one of the password managers, you could store it there. A lot of people, it's not the most secure, but you could just send an email to yourself. So, but we'll want to get that first. And then when we start the process, the first thing it's going to do is show you this seed hex, this key. So then we'll want to store it in our prepared place so we don't lose it. And then we'll complete this initialization process. And at that point, you'll give me your public key and I'll start sending you money because you need to have at least a couple cents in there to create your profile. So that's when we'll walk through creating a profile, you can create a post, and you can find each other and follow each other. I don't know if we'll get that far today. I don't know how much time everyone has, but I'll be here to do whatever we want. Okay, so first of all, let's do this. Step one, prepare a place to store our seed hex, aka private keys. So do you guys have password managers on your, is what? That's probably a little insecure, but yeah. I am not the security expert. So are there other suggestions from those out there of a somewhat more secure than Notes app place to put it? Yeah. So there is a password manager on the iPad. Keychain. All right.
Are you something called, like you're just talking about different programs?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Something that you already have. I don't want everyone to have to download something.
So if you're using your iPad, there's keychain.
Okay.
I don't know exactly what you said.
Okay. So what you'll be storing is a profile ID and a seed hex. And I will get close, but not all the way with my last pass, because you guys don't need to see, and I don't need it recorded, where all my stuff is. But in LastPass, I have an entry here called DeSo seed, and I just store all of my, I have a few different profiles, so I'll store the profile name or the ID and then that seed phrase. So, but like I said, a lot of people just use Gmail for now. So, okay. Does everyone have somewhere to store it now? Who's going through this exercise? Okay, so I will go through this together. What we'll do, okay, there's a couple, you could go to a bunch of these different sites to sign up. I think BitClout is the quickest. So go to bitclout.com. And if I go, I will already be logged in. So, oh no, good. So you'll see something like that. Is that what you see? Okay. Now click on sign up and then do this one. Don't do sign up, log in with Google, do sign up with DeSo seed. Now, if I click this, you will see my DeSo seed. So I'm gonna close this and I'm gonna go back to my, what you see after that, this is what you should see right here. Store your DeSo seed phrase, write, download, print, copy it somewhere. If you lose your DeSo seed phrase, your account will be lost forever. I blanked out, it'll be a whole bunch of words, maybe 10, just as it'll be hard for you to guess it, but I'm giving you a hint. My first one is useless and the last one is size, but I blanked out all the other ones. It's a string of random words. So copy that, paste it into either into your password manager or into your email and send it to yourself. This is the seed hex. This is your password. Yep. All right. Let me know when you're ready to go on. We good? Okay. So next, all right, then I had to, at this point when I was preparing the slides, I had to go teach a class. So what you'll see after this, okay, well, all right, I'm gonna do it, and this will be an account that I will never use. How does that sound? So there's my seed hex. I'll hit copy. I hit the next button, then I'm gonna paste that back in. You guys good so far? And then hit next. And then you should be somewhere like that. Do you see that? Okay. Now, if you go to update profile. Yeah. Oh, sorry.
No.
Okay. You won't be able to create your profile yet because you don't have any money. If you go to wallet, you will see your public key. Now this is, what do we do? Okay, I know, you can email it to me. This public key, that is okay to share with others. In fact, what you should also probably do right now is click the copy, and on that email you sent or in your password manager, add that public key there too. It'll help you remind yourself of, you know, who you are. Click this, and then I am at kenny.jacobson@svu.edu. And so if you send me an email with your profile, I can send you money. And in this case, I'm going to go to a different browser, and I'm going to, just to show you the different, this is Diamond app. So this is also going to the same blockchain. It's just, you can see the look and feel is different, but it's all the same information. And so I would go to wallet and send DeSo. And if you send me your public key, I will put it in here and I'll send you like $2 worth of DeSo. So let's see. Oh, there we go. We got, pardon? Yeah, just to my SVU email. All right. Earl, I'm gonna copy that, paste it there, and let's see. I don't want to send you 2 DeSo would be $93. I don't even think I have that much in this account. So we'll do point. Let's see what's there. We go. 0.5, 0.4. All right, I'm gonna be a cheap scam. Get it. Send everyone 0.04 DeSo. All right. Right. Okay. So that was a success. So go whoever, let's see, who was that? Oh, okay. So if you refresh, you should now be able to go to your wallet and see some DeSo in it. It's not instantaneous, but it should happen within. Yep. Okay. All right. Next. James. All right. Man, Mr. Moneyman. Okay. Okay. Oh, this is going quicker than I thought. Yeah, that's true, right? If there were only more friction to spending money. Uh-huh. Yeah, that's true. I am. It's a transaction, and it would show that money was transferred from my profile ID, and it's now part of your profile ID. How many? Oh, so right now, like I said, it's in its infancy. So it is there. It's running on what are called trusted servers. So there's community servers and trusted servers. And the trusted servers are the ones that get to make the decision on what's a valid transaction. And so right now they're super fast because like it or not, as much as we love decentralization, DeSo is not fully decentralized, but that happens in the beginning of these things. So yeah, and it's, I like it because, like I said, it's user friendly. I think it helps you get an understanding of how these things work, these different concepts, without spending a whole lot of money and making it fairly painless. But it might not be the decentralized social network that wins, right? Something else might win. And so that's why I don't personally own a whole lot of DeSo. When I believe in investing my time, like if there is a product I believe in, then I invest money. Something like this, I would consider this speculation. And so if I'm going to speculate, I speculate my time. And I try to set myself up for a win-win, like heads I win, tails you lose. But if I learned a program on DeSo and DeSo takes off, man, this is awesome. I now am one of the premier programmers for DeSo and I can name my price, right? If it doesn't take off, I still learned a lot about the blockchain, about crypto, about NFTs that I did not know before. And so I have a knowledge base, a general knowledge base I can apply to whoever does win. And so that's kind of my philosophy on how. All right, did everyone who gave me information? Oh, let's see. Wait, did this end? Oh, yeah, the recording. What? All right. All right. Can I start this up again? All right. All right. I just feel bad for the people who had to take off. Okay, but we can walk through it again. Okay, is there anyone else that's waiting for me to give them initial money, not more money, just, yeah.
So how I have a Phantom wallet, but that's fine. For social aspects, the DeSo versus like.
Well, that's a good question. So because there is a coin involved, there's a lot of people who are speculating on the DeSo coin, and it goes up and down. So is that your question? Or
Yeah, can I sync like my Phantom wallet with?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Like, so oh, is it? Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. Okay, so where's everyone? Can you go to update profile now and actually update your profile? You guys been doing that? Doing a profile picture, stuff like that? Creating posts. If you want, now that you've done that, you can go to, just to explore, diamondapp.com, and you will probably see right up here a login button, and it'll bring up the DeSo identity window, and you can choose. You should be able to see your login there. You click on that, and now you're logged in to BitCloud. So the nice thing about this, the identity feature, kind of like with MetaMask and I'm sorry, that probably not everyone. Almost like your Google sign in for a bunch of different sites. Your DeSo sign in now counts for any site that's built on top of DeSo, and you can just log in and see what's going on. So let me. All right, now I need to know your. How about this? You guys find me. my handle is Kenny J. Oh, you would have known because you would have got money from me too. So if you go to Kenny J and see me there, you can see this is my post. You can click, you can see that? You can click on the heart and that's a like, right? If you click on the diamond, if you give me 1 diamond, that's a fraction of a DeSo. So it's like you're tipping me, like, hey, nice post. And you can give me 1 diamond, which is like a half a penny, or 2 diamonds, which is 5 cents or something like that. And it scales up. So let's see, if I go to my notes. Yeah. Okay. So, and I'll make a post. Hola, clase. Who's here? All right. Now, once again, because this is on the blockchain forever, you always want to make sure your spelling's right too. Now, you can modify a post, but what really ends up happening is you're just creating a duplicate of your original post, but with the new changes. You're setting the hide. There's a flag among all the different attributes. There's a hidden checkbox. And even though nothing ever disappears from the internet, most of these front ends will respect. If something has the hidden checkbox checked, it won't display it on the front end. And so that's kind of how you can update a post, but there we go. All right, I'm going to, there, I made a post, come find me and comment on it. And then that way I can follow you. Let's see, who's Oxenhead? All right, so now it came through that you followed me, and I can bring up, whoops. Oh, I see. Oh, that's fine. That's what I mean. You liked it. And so I can click on, yes. So I can now follow you. There we go. How does, oh, your creator coin? It's what's called a bonding curve. Have you heard of that? It's kind of weird. Well, maybe it looks more like this. If I buy, it starts out at 0. If someone buys 10, then the value, whatever the values are here, maybe it's now $10. If 20 people buy it, now maybe it's worth $22. Now the problem is when someone sells, maybe they sell 5 of it, and we're back down to 15, then the price drops. So it's kind of an artificial mechanism. Yes, it's to simulate the scarcity, and yeah, exactly. Okay, what you might have noticed if you go to your profile, you do have a coin price. And let me tell you a little bit about safety. Right here, you see 10% FR. That's called founders, stands for founders reward. And what that means is if you buy my coin, if my founders reward is at 10%, I actually get 10% right off. So if you bought $10 worth of Kenny coin, you really only get $9 worth of it, and I get $1 in my bank account. So then you need my coin to go above 10 to sell it and make a profit. Now, the reason why all of yours right now should be set to 100%, and you could change it, but it will probably say you need to buy your own coin first. the problem is when they first rolled out DeSo, you had a whole lot of bots doing what was called a rug pull. So these bots would rush in and buy your coin and pump up the price, and then you would get excited and you'd be like, oh, I got to get in. So you'd hurry up and buy more of your coin, driving the price up further. Then they would sell. Now that it's higher, they would sell, make a profit, and you would collapse back down. And that is one example of a rug pull. It happens all the time. So that's why when new users are onboarded, it's immediately set to 100%, because it's in no one's interest to buy your coin for 100%. They're just doing a donation to you, right? And so,
So it should say 100% right now?
yours should say 100%. Once you buy your own coin, then you are free to lower your founder's reward. But once again, just be careful, because bots are going to drive you up and you might get super excited and want to buy more. It's just get ready for a rug pull. So yeah. Other legitimate people might look at you, and after a bunch of posts, or they're like, hey, this person is really knowledgeable they post a lot about bagels. They are the bagel master, and I love bagels. And so I want to not just follow them as they become more popular, because how could someone who blogs on bagels not be popular? Their value is going to increase. So I want to buy in now. So that's kind of the mechanism. I personally think it's a little goofy. I don't love it, but and because it's also easy to, the holy phrase coming, to get high on your own supply, right? Like you get that rush of a dopamine when you see people are buying your creator coin, because it makes you feel important. And then when people go to sell it, then you feel yucky, because like, what did I do wrong? So anyway, I don't love that about it. So
what if we're at 10%?
So 10%, that's,
Is that normal for
yeah.
a person?
It's,
I'm asking because
yeah.
like, everybody should be at 100%. I'm like, I'm at 10.
Oh yeah. No. Did you buy, how much of your own coin did you buy?
Maybe I put something.
Oh, okay.
I did buy my own toy because
Okay, yeah. And the other thing is there will be, I can't remember where it is. I can look for it. There is something you can do to get some more DeSo. You would go through what's called a know your customer, a KYC. And this is where you will actually take a picture of your driver's license. And so they will verify that, yes, you are indeed, I am Kenny Jacobson. I'm truly he who says who he is. And when I did that, I got like $5 worth of DeSo. And I personally like the idea of non-anonymity in a lot of cases, because I think a lot of the crap that happens on the internet is because we're so anonymous. And especially, like, for example, when I'm reading, I'm getting off topic. Let's see, it's getting kind of late too. We'll talk tomorrow too. Does anyone have any other questions on that? On what we've done so far? Kind of fun. Now, in theory, if we wanted to, we could start up our own DeSo node for just SVU, and we could configure it that if you went to, I don't know, DeSo.svu.edu or something like that, it would only allow people, we could whitelist the people who can go on that server. And so we could make it so it's only SVU students. And even though what we write will be written to the blockchain and visible to everyone else also, we would only be able to see and interact with each other on this one, as we call it, node, or this one app. I don't think we want to do that, but it's
everybody outside can see in, they can interact.
right. Yeah.
And whereas we can interact with each other.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, those are kind of things I wanted to cover today. I would suggest you can go around and look for NFTs if you want. Let's do this real quick, and then that'll be the last thing. Let's go to. Let me look for my slide. Not that one. This one. Polygram. That's it. So if you go to polygram.cc. If you do log in, you'll see that you're logged in. So this is the site that's more like OpenSea, but it's also going to that same DeSo database. And I can go and search users. I can do Kenny J, find myself, and I haven't created any NFTs, but I own some because they're fun and I just get cheap ones. So here are some of the fun little image NFTs I bought. And as you can see, this one I use as my profile picture. It's DeSo trolls. So they're just stupid. And like I said, these were cheap. So, but don't go buying expensive ones. And that is financial advice. Now, what's up with the pineapple and the crepes? So I have a DeSo friend named, well, his handle is Brutal. He lives in Ukraine. And so he's been giving us kind of a blow by blow, at least in his city, what's been going on. And and all of us want to help somehow. So what he's been doing is just been taking pictures of kind of normal life during wartime. And he has his, it's stupid, right? It's a dumb little series on, but there's a story attached with it, right? So if I click on this NFT is not just the image, but it's also this text. This pineapple has a history. I bought it on February 22nd. That was Sarvente, that's his daughter's birthday. We eat half of it before the war. He's Ukrainian. He's not going to always have the best English. And now we finally going to finish it. Seventh day of war. We all feel that we cannot lose as we fight against evil and everyone helping Ukraine. So to me, this is he's documenting history at a very small level. And I wanted to send his family a little bit of money. So the way I liked doing this is I bought his NFT. So he got money. I got a little piece of history. And once again, anyone can download this, right? But just like a museum, you go into a museum and you see art hanging on the wall, often it'll have a placard underneath, right? Donated by the Jacobson family or on loan by the Smith family. And so in this case, if you wanted to look up who owns this NFT, it's me, right? And I'm kind of contributing it to the library of human history. And that's the way I looked at it. So I'm not looking to get rich off of this. I'll never sell it. I think it's just, it was a fun way of me trying to do something nice for someone else. But I don't know. I thought that was kind of a fun idea. And you can see, I actually did not pay $23 for it because DeSo, it's jumped. I don't know why it spiked 2 days ago. So it was more like only $12. So now I feel like a cheapskate. But anyway, that's one possible possibility. But yeah, there's just, I don't know, they're just kind of fun. To me, they're almost just like Pokemon cards, like collector cards, right? It's fun to collect them. And as long as you're not, to me, spending stupid amounts of money on it. This guy's he's in South Korea, artist. I just love, I don't know, I just love the feel of his artwork. And anyway, any other comments, questions? All right, well, that's what I got for today. Tomorrow we'll go over NFTs a little bit more. I don't know what more I could say. Maybe I'll just repeat a little bit what I said yesterday. And then we'll use DeSo to mint our own NFTs. So the only no-no is don't take someone else's work and mint it. So come here with a picture or just a stupid drawing or whatever that you made in, paint. And we'll turn it into an NFT, and then we can put up for sale and buy and sell each other's NFTs, become millionaires, right? All right, thanks, guys. Thank you. Thanks. Oh.